Have you ever loved someone so deeply and still lost them? One moment, life feels steady. You are doing everything right. A good husband, a loyal friend, and a faithful father. And then, without warning, she walks away. Love doesn't always reward the faithful. It's like planting a seed, watering it, shielding it, and waiting for it to bloom. But sometimes a seed never grows. No matter how much care you give it, it dies. And just when you think nothing will ever grow again, another seed finds the soil. Quiet, unexpected, and this time it blossoms. Justin was a good man. Everyone said so, especially his wife, Melissa. They were a perfect match, or so it seemed. Then came the phone call, the kind that steals the air from your lungs. Justin was gone. A business trip across the sea, a sudden storm, a boat lost to the waves. There were no bodies, just the crushing finality of it all. Melissa's grief was a raw wound, open for all to see. She wept as if her heart would break, her cries echoing through their quiet home. The funeral was a way of honoring him, she said. The most expensive caskets, the finest flowers for her dear husband, but only the best for Justin. Amidst the sorrow, a quiet strangeness began to bloom. A man in a striking blue suit stood near Melissa, always just behind her, his eyes scanning the crowd with an odd intensity. It was a detail that Justin's family couldn't quite place. His presence felt like a shadow, a silent mark in the scene of overwhelming grief. The service went on, a blur of words and tears. But as the casket, holding only Justin's shirt according to tradition, was lowered, the man in blue remained a fixed point, his expression unreadable. Melissa's pain was palpable, yet something felt off. Who was this man in blue? And why did his gaze hold such a peculiar weight? The days that followed the funeral were a haze of mourning, at least on the surface. Melissa moved through their home like a ghost, surrounded by memories, but Justin's family couldn't shake the image of the man in blue. He was always there, a constant companion to the grieving widow. He drove a car, he answered her calls, he even sat with her during meals. Whispers started, quiet at first, then growing bolder. Who was this man who had so quickly stepped into Justin's empty space? Then came the unsettling observation. Melissa's young son, little Justin Jr., bore an uncanny resemblance to the man in blue. The same sharp nose, the same determined chin. A seed of doubt, dark and unwelcome, began to take root in the minds of Justin's parents. Could it be? The thought felt like a betrayal, a cruel twist of fate in an already tragic story. They watched Melissa and the man in blue, their every interaction scrutinized, every shared glance analyzed. The way he placed a hand on her arm, the way she leaned towards him for comfort. It all felt wrong, a jarring discord in the symphony of grief. The reading of the will was a tense affair. The lawyer's voice echoed in the silent room as he laid out Justin's final wishes. 90% of his considerable wealth was to go to Melissa and their son. The remaining 10% was allocated to his parents and siblings. A murmur rippled through Justin's family. It wasn't about the money, but the division felt stark, a strange deviation from the generous man they knew. Throughout the reading, the man in blue stood behind Melissa. His presence is silent assertion. He never spoke, never reacted outwardly, but his watchful eyes missed nothing. Justin's parents exchanged uneasy glances. This man was more than just a man offering support. He seemed deeply entrenched in Melissa's life, in Justin's affairs. Questions swirled in their mind, unanswered and unsettling. Was Justin aware of this man? Had he trusted him? The will itself felt like another layer of mystery, a piece of puzzle that didn't quite fit. The lawyer finished, the words hanging in the air like a judgment. Melissa remained composed, the man in blue a constant shadow. Justin's family left the lawyer's office with heavy hearts. The weight of their grief now compounded by suspicion and confusion. Weeks turned into months. Melissa, the grieving widow, began to transform. The heavy black clothes were replaced by brighter hues. The tears dried, and a new, almost vibrant energy seemed to surround her. She was seen at social gatherings, always accompanied by the man in blue. Meanwhile, miles away, in a small quiet town, a man slowly recovered his memory. He remembered the storm, the capsized boat, the desperate struggle for survival. He remembered being pulled from the churning water by a kind fisherman. He remembered the long weeks of healing in a simple hospital. And then he heard the news. A fragmented report on a crackling radio. A local businessman lost at sea. His wife now a wealthy widow. The name struck him like a lightning bolt. The shock jotted his memory fully awake. He had to go home. He had to understand. He had to see Melissa. He made the long journey back, driven by a desperate need for answers. As he reached his street, he heard raised voices. His parents arguing with Melissa. He walked towards the house, a ghost returning to a life he thought he had lost. Unaware of the scene that awaited him, he pushed open the door. The scene inside was frozen in time. Melissa stood, face contorted in anger, facing Justin's parents. Everyone turned as the door creaked open. Silence descended, thick and heavy. Then a gasp escaped Melissa's lips, her eyes widening in disbelief and terror. Justin's parents cried out in joy, rushing towards their son, tears streaming down their faces. But it was the man in blue who reacted in the most unpredictable way. He dashed for the door. But Justin's brother, who had been visiting their parents, reacted instantly, grabbing him and holding him firm. The story tumbled out, a chaotic mess of Justin's miraculous survival, his rescue by the fishermen, his slow recovery. Melissa's carefully constructed world began to crumble. Cornered, she confessed everything. The affair with the man in blue, who was indeed the father of young Justin Jr. The elaborate charade of grief, the will, once a source of contention, was now irrelevant. Justin was alive. The truth, like a shattered mirror, reflected a reality far more complex and cruel than anyone could have imagined. In the end, there was no need for a will. There was only the wreckage of a life built on lies and deceit. Justin had returned, not as a ghost, but as a living testament to the unpredictable nature of fate. This story reminds us that truth has a way of surfacing. No matter how deep the secrets are buried, life is full of unexpected turns, and sometimes the greatest surprises come when we least expect them. If you have enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more captivating tales. And remember, in the face of the unexpected, hold on to what is real and true.